questions for both of you. There are quite a few scenes where Bo is sucking the animated chi out of your characters' bodies. What is it like to film those scenes? Are you just having open mouths? Yes.
Oh my god. You'll all be watching and I was like, yeah.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Anna's an old pro. Every time we have a guest star that comes on the show, she's just like, just open your mouth and stare at me. Just do it. And that's how they...
That's so amazing. Thank you.
Alright, yes.
Okay. I was wondering, because like you said before, there are a lot of sex scenes in the show, and I was wondering, was that hard in the beginning? Did it ever get like awkward, or was it like totally natural?
You hope it doesn't get hard.
Not me, but just to clarify. It's, you know, I don't know. I mean, some sex scenes are less comfortable than other sex scenes, depending on the person and how well.
You're on a bed or a barrel or.
Sure. Are you doing it on a barrel a lot? Oh, really? Yeah, because sometimes it's like the first scene of the day and you just literally met them that morning in the hair and makeup trailer, and then you have to go and you've got to figure it out. But I mean, it's kind of like any other scene. You just sort of got to do it. Have you done sex scenes? I have, yes. Yeah, they're okay, right?
Just jump on in.
You jump on in. Not right in, but in.
You'd hope. It's not usually the partner you're working with, it's the fact that there's like 100 crew members walking around going, and you're sitting there naked. I think my worst experience was on our pilot, which was episode 8 of our first season.
But when we did our scene, you had your back, the camera, didn't you?
Yes.
And the camera was right in line with Chris, his bum. He was bent over the bed on the bed on top of me.
Yeah.
And so...
And I wasn't wearing anything.
No. No, because guys always wear their sock. That's what I did for that. I couldn't say sock without that movement.
Can you just picture yourself having to go to work and all of your workmates are where you are, and I'm like this naked.
That's exactly.
And I'm a skinny dude, so there's no like hiding.
You've said that so many times that I'm imagining a bigger... Is there hiding with bigger people? Like,
I would imagine so.
okay. Yeah, I'm kind of confused about that too. I mean, yeah, you always have to say, I'm skinny, so there's no hiding, and I'm picturing, like, but yeah.
Okay.
If you're bigger than Chris,
Okay.
you're going with a blanket that hangs off your ass. And it's incredible.
Question, please.
I think so.
It's awkward.
Yeah, it's a lot awkward. It's awkward yet fun. Yeah, you know.
But yeah, it can be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Thank you. Yes, let's take it over here.
Tough actor hollow.
It's
one of the things I like about Canadian television is there's diversity in characters and shows, and I'd like to know if y'all think that shows like Boss Girl will sort of filter down into American television. And oh yeah, I guess only one question.
You mean in the shows that are created out of the States?
No, Canadian television filtering down into American mainstream television. How you take your show and shows like it are affecting what we get to see as far as diversity of characters, diversity of...
Are you noticing, let me try to paraphrase, are you noticing an influence Canadian television shows on the sensibility? I don't know, but I hope so. I hope so, certainly. Yeah, I mean, you know, that would be fantastic. I think that, you know, as much as the States has to teach the Canadian film and television industry, maybe we have a little something to teach back, and that being one of those things would be kind of great.
Yeah, there's so many great shows that come out of the States. Honestly, usually we're following you guys, and if you say that we offer something that maybe has a little more diversity,
I think she's right. I think we
so
do.
much for that.
Most definitely you do.
Really?
Thanks. Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. Great question. Yes.
Jack.
Yes. Love you guys. Love the show. My question is about practical jokes.
Oh.
Who of the cast is the worst practical joker, and what is the worst one that's been played on you, or that you play on somebody else?
We're not big practical jokers. We don't try to like mess each other up too much. It's just a lot of spontaneous.
You're inclined to sort of come into the scene with your pants around your ankles sometimes.
That's true.
That would be like Chris's thing. But like Anna and I are always cracking up on stuff. Like, we laugh a lot. You know, like we just sort of get into the giggles, and then we can't shoot the scene because we're laughing so long.
Zoe's definitely the comic relief on the show. She's got a wit like a whip, and no whip thing to say there.
No, that's it. I was just gonna let you compliment you. I was gonna sit there.
But yeah, no.
You don't practical joke a lot, do
No,
you?
not too much. Also because we're under a lot of time constraints.
It's
So
time.
it's like, you know, when you shoot a show like ours, which is quite a big show in 7 days, there's no time to mess around.
You can feel the tension on set sometimes if we're falling behind.
If we're fucking around and like making people laugh, you can feel like the producer starts trying to go.
They're not nearly as enamored with us as you guys are.
I hit your mark.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite episode of all the seasons that you've done?
There's a bunch. I like Foot Soup a lot. I love that episode. That was kind of cool. Episode 7 of this past season was fun. The body switching episode. For you?
I like the original body swap one when we're all in the bar.
Yeah.
The thing about for me, I mean, I like the backlash one. I like the backlash. There I am bending over in front of you all. The 206, the flashback. Some of the end of season 4, I like some of these ones. There was some pretty powerful stuff. There's been a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a scene. Sometimes it's not an entire episode, but sometimes we'll have a really great scene or a dynamic in a scene that hasn't been played out before. Certainly you and I have explored some of that in the last little bit.
Nice. Yes.
So I love how the show Lost Girl pulls from so many different like mythological legends and things like that. And when you guys got your roles initially, did you do any sort of research, like to get inspiration or anything?
Research for the characters.
Yeah.
Well, I'm researching as I go, generally, because I have to look up some of the stuff that I have to say. And what I have to say not only is a medical jargon, but it's sci-fi medical jargon. So sometimes it's like, sort of derives from something real, but they've really sort of expanded on it. And so in that way, I research as we go in order to sort of sound like I know what I'm saying. But in terms of the kind of fae world of it, I didn't do a ton of it. Did you? I mean, you sort of knew more about that when you came onto the show.
Yeah, I mean, I love some of the wolf mythology that has been presented in some of the books that I read growing up, like Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. You know, like the Karen with Hopper and that whole sort of, you know, the dream, I can't even tell Enrod or however you want to say it. You know, that sort of idea that the wolf spirit lives on another plane and is immortal. I brought that to our, right in my audition for the pilot. I said, you know, these are some ideas that I'd love to bring into the show, and they loved that. And I've always thought of Dyson not so much as a werewolf at all, more of a shifter, a shape shifter, and that it's more of a spiritual thing, almost druidic in nature. And so I pull from those sort of roots. And hopefully, that, I was talking to Jay about this, that, you know, that nature, that the connection with nature that Dyson would have as a shifter, maybe we can use as something in the storyline later on that, you know, is some sort of power versus an evil, maybe. Hopefully, it's a chance to explore it. Thanks.
You look great, by the way. Yes, good job.
I like this game.
Where's this kid?
Yeah, he's over there. Get that right.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.
Yes.
Start crystalling out on myself over here.
Hi. So my question is,
did shooting compare from the first day to like the nearest stuff?
From the first day to the nearest step?
Yeah, for the second grade students.
First day was like, holy shit! Dude!
I didn't do any of that on the first day, actually.
And I was like, oh, alright. That's it.
We have sort of found our characters as we've gone, though. You know, they have evolved for sure. We figured out different ways to play them, and now that we know kind of more about them. I mean, certainly with my character, I didn't even know if I was good or bad or what I was about for the longest time. So it took half the first season to even sort of figure out how to really connect to Lauren, because I knew what you knew, which was not mine.
That's a good question. How far in advance, I mean, not just getting the script, obviously, but do you guys get to speak with the writers and say, hey, this season I'd like to arc my character this way, or I'd like to reveal this? How much influence and how far in advance do you know about decisions that they're making?
Well, it's an open door policy for sure, and they're happy to talk to us at all times. They have a pretty good idea of the arc of the season. Like they're working on yeah, you guys know what we're coming back. So you know, they know what they're doing already. They have a pretty good idea of that, and then you know they can have conversation. Apparently, I can't construct a sentence right now, so sorry. But yeah, okay, you sound great. Okay, you have like stagger through this.
So interesting, but there were certain aspects that were revealed until maybe early on they were making decisions more per episode, and now there's more longevity there, so they're kind of...
Yeah, they really need to arc out their season, and when we bring them our own individual ideas, they have to service the show, you know. And so it's all about fitting them in the right place, and whether or not they can or not. And in the past, they've been really great with allowing us to do so. I remember at the end of season 1, they were trying to figure out how to end Dyson's storyline here, and we were all sitting around the room, and I was like, why don't we just have them running off in pain and wait? Because it was the end of the season, they could actually do that as opposed to, you know. In the middle, there's so many constraints upon, like, you know, all the different arcs that need to be told. So it's a very complex puzzle, and I try now to kind of stay out of their hair as much as possible and just kind of service what they've created as best I can, as opposed to trying to change it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Hi, so we've seen on a lot of the bloopers Chris coming down with his pants around his ankles.
Yeah, that's his thing.
We've seen the bloopers where Bo and Lauren are having their succubus midterms and how you would have your humor going non-stop and Bo would have to compose herself and she couldn't. So I guess aside from that, how do you guys pass time on set when you're not joking around?
Twitter.
I mean, we have trailers, so we'll often go back and we'll take the time to sort of look at the next scene or call friends and family, or we'll go into each other's rooms and close the door and
Play guitar.
play guitar. Play guitar. You know, when people days.
That's right, but I was really playing guitar.
I was so awkward because I was sure that's not where that was headed.
Thank you. And by the way, if you don't know, it's at Zoe Palmer and at Chris Holden _Reed on Twitter, so you guys can follow them if you're not already. You should. You can find out what they're doing behind the scenes. Well, they're not really. We have time for one last question, so we'll go over here.
Thanks for being on the show. One of the things that I think is amazing about the show is that sexuality is like not an issue. Being from the queer community, it's so nice to have a show where this doesn't matter. In fact, I'm hoping to see a backstory for Dyson even. I mean, 1,000 years probably at some point in time, and it kind of be like. I think that most of the animal kingdom, including humans. Although I apologize, this is not what my question is on. My question is, if you personally, all three of you really, could be a mythological character, any creature from history's legends, what would it be and why?
All right, we'll start with Chris. Is that one?
You know, I think I'm a fan of immortality. I would love to see how this world and humanity progresses over the next 1,000, 10,000 years. And, you know, I can be a vigilante, so I'm going to have to go for a badass kicking vampire that just takes it or leaves it. But I would love to see, like, honestly, I wish I could live that.